Hello and welcome to this extended edition of the I-24 News Desk. I'm Batia Leventhal coming to you live from Tel Aviv with our top stories this hour. We start right here in Israel, where overnight thousands of Palestinians fled the Jenin refugee camp in the West Bank. According to Palestinian sources, around 3,000 people have been evacuated from the densely populated camp that is home to close to 18,000 Palestinians. This is the Israeli Defense Forces, along with the Israeli government, indicated they will continue on Tuesday with their major anti-terror operation to, quote, root out all terror cells from the city. Although IDF reinforcements have moved into the city, the Israeli military has denied reports that it ordered any evacuation within Jenin and continues to reiterate that its operation, which started overnight between Sunday and Monday, is to crack down only on the hotbed of terror within the city. According to an IDF spokesman on Tuesday, with an update of the situation, 120 terrorists have been arrested thus far, but there are still 10 terrorist targets left in the center of Jenin that they are working on capturing. Let's cross now live to our defense correspondent Jonathan Regev, who's standing by for us at the Salameh checkpoint in the northern West Bank. Jonathan, good morning to you. What are we hearing this morning? What's happening on the ground there? Are we seeing or hearing of any movement?
So I will move so that you can see Jenin right behind me in the background. At least for now, from the place where we are, we're not seeing extensive action there in Jenin. We're not seeing a lot of smoke. What we are hearing is the sound of drones in the skies. I was here about a week ago. No such sound back then. Now we're hearing it all the time. Similar sounds to the ones heard every time we broadcast out of the Gaza border. Now we hear it here as well. You can see there Jenin right behind us. We see both the city of Jenin in the background and the refugee camp where the activity takes place a bit closer. We're not seeing anything special happening there, and we also understand from the army that the progress being made there is very slow, meaning not intensive action by the army. They are pinpointing every single explosive lab or so on that there is inside the Jenin refugee camp, working slow to enter to each of those destinations and make sure they either catch and destroy whatever is inside. This is what is happening now in Jenin. There's no major resistance. We know that the terrorists, once they realized that this operation began yesterday morning, they fled deep into the refugee camp, and at least for now, no major resistance or firefight. If IDF forces, of course, move deeper into the refugee camp, that might happen. At least for the moment, it is not happening.
And Jonathan, speaking of movement, thousands of Palestinians are said to have left the camp late last night. As we're looking at these visuals live on our screens, are you seeing any movement this morning of more people possibly fleeing the area?
Yes, there is a possibility. IDF spokesman speaking to us last night said that women and children they have the ability to move. They have freedom of movement. They can leave the refugee camp. As far as the men, they can leave as well, but after being checked to make sure they're not wanted terrorists. We can expect more movement to be seen of civilians throughout the day.
Correspondent Jonathan Regev there in the northern West Bank. Thank you for continuing to bring us all the updates this morning. I'm sure we'll cross live to you later on in the day. Meanwhile, the IDF operation continues amid rising opposition and condemnation within the Arab world. Leaders in Amman and Cairo both lamented the escalating aggression against Palestinians in Jenin. That has also trickled down to its citizens. Jordanians held a protest in solidarity with the Palestinians in Jenin on Monday outside the Israeli embassy in Amman. Many of them demanded an end to their country's links with Israel. Israel and Jordan, like Israel and Egypt, all have long-standing peace agreements, but calls to sever those ties often come up among citizens within these nations when Israel is engaged in an operation or war with the Palestinians in either the West Bank or the Gaza enclave. And joining me right here in studio to analyze this operation further is our Middle East correspondent Ariel Osran and Rafael Yerushalmi, a former IDF senior intelligence officer and security analyst. Rafael, I want to start with you. Yesterday, we said that this operation was going to be 48 hours. Is that still the case? Are we going to be seeing an end to this operation by this evening if those 10 terror targets are in fact brought in?
Yes, this seems to be the case. Now there is an assessment almost every hour on the hour by the IDF whether to continue or not. On the one hand, we have a beautiful, advanced, very successful action has been led, so why not capitalize and continue and finish the job? On the other hand, everybody knows from experience that the longer we stay on the ground, the more dangerous and perilous it becomes, and the achievements, the main achievements have been achieved. Now it will diminish. Whatever we will apprehend, whatever we will find is not as much as before, so you have to balance that with the peril, peril for collateral damage, meaning the danger that it poses for innocent people's bystanders, and the peril it causes to our troops. So this means you have to assess the situation. And the main target, the main goal has been reached. It was to dismantle the infrastructure that turned Jenin and this refugee camp into a bastion of terror, like a headquarters of terrorism for all the Palestinians in the West Bank, to a point where it became a city of refuge for people who were committing terrorist acts, and then they were rushing into Jenin and hiding there, feeling safe there, being able to regroup there, having like a supermarket of weapons and explosives, having a lot of communication, coordination between them, between the different cells. All this has been dismantled. It will take months to rebuild, if ever. And also a lesson has been learned at the political level to allow the security forces and the IDF to operate when they feel they want to do so. And they have delivered, and they have delivered in a very good way. Hopefully this operation will end soon, because everybody knows that the longer it takes, the more dangerous it is for us.
And Ariel, before we dive into politics, I do want to point out to our viewers that you were looking at live images on the screen of Jenin. There did seem to be some smoke in the background there. The PA in the past tends to cut off security coordination with Israel in events like this. Now it's severing all ties. But how does this really tie into the fact that Israel has said it wants to strengthen what is known as a very weak Palestinian Authority in the northern West Bank?
Yeah, look, Batia, I'm not sure that the statement from the PA yesterday is considered, a strong refute of Israel's actions, because the security coordination with Israel is officially already severed. So how can you sever something that is non-existent? I think the statement from the PA cutting communications and reaffirming the disconnect of security coordination, that is something that they had to say internally. But at the end of the day, if we're looking at where the PA stands here, we don't really need to guess. We in recent weeks, and also even this morning, we're hearing from Israeli officials that the intent is to try, after years of weakening the PA and eroding, also actively, but also their stance being eroded in mainly the northern part of the West Bank. There is a kind of a new consensus among the leadership that the goal is to try and reaffirm the PA's sovereignty in these areas. Just if we're looking at Tzachi Hanegbi, Israel's national security advisor, said today to Israel's public broadcaster Reshet Bet that the operation in Jenin is getting closer to achieving the goals for ourselves, and that they want to strengthen the PA.